So I'm going to play 2 videos right now. I heard that song is really important to the Tanzanian people, especially the Porters. And in the time of COVID, I didn't talk to about them with it, but my friend who was there before said that they weren't able to sing for them like they normally do. I asked my guide about the Kilimanjaro song. He told me about him a little bit. So I was like, can they sing me that, at least the Kilimanjaro song? And I was in for a treat because I was expecting a 30-second song, and this is what I got instead. And I'm going to play the whole thing.
Piga makofi, piga makofi, piga makofi, mgeni wetu, wako vizuri, wagumu wetu, wako vizuri, wabebi wetu, wako vizuri, mpishi wetu, anafyatua, piga makofi, piga makofi, Kilimanjaro, 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 mlima mrefu sana. Na mawezi, mlima mrefu sana. Nayo kibo, mlima mrefu sana. Ewe nyoka, una walizunguka, wataka kunila nyama, kunila nyama, mbona walizunguka, kunila nyama, mbona walizunguka. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa Kilimanjaro. Hakuna matata, hakuna matata, tulianza matame, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, hapa tukachomwa, hakuna matata, hapa tukashuka, hakuna matata, kifo la kalio, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, barako moja moja, hakuna matata, hakuna matata, tukafika, hakuna matata. Jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa Kilimanjaro, hakuna matata.
And I mean, that just, it transports me back there. I was watching it yesterday and I texted my guide. I'm like, Festo, I'm reminiscing and I'm longing to go back, just watching the videos. Now, this next video, they got me involved and Festo, my guide, was taking it. And I told you about, I don't know their names, but the 2 people, the 2 Tanzanians that climbed to the top with me, I'm going to point them out on the left-hand side. You'll see about I don't know, partway through, you'll see the guy on the very top, the waiter who's leading this. You'll see him bring the guy with the brain injury in. You'll see how he's walking. This guy made it up to the top. I only saw people really helping him up at the top of Bronco Wall. I saw people helping him over the wall a little bit, but that's it. This guy made it up to the top on his own with very little use of half of his body. And I'm sorry, it's already 3:30. If you have to go, I completely understand. I just keep talking, I guess. I didn't expect it to go this long. So I'll straighten up. So the guy he's going to, I come to find out he's the 3rd guy that's with us. This is the nephew. That's the nephew. This is how much I can go with my now he's gonna go get the other guy. So can you imagine how strong that guy is mentally, besides physically, climbing up that mountain like that? I'm just in awe, and he's just an amazing guy. That's all I know. I've got a picture with him at the end. You can kind of see, I'm going to comment about the porter's shoes. When you go, people say, if you can leave your boots, leave them for the porters. They don't have as much, which they don't, which is another reason why I tip so well. But I did notice most of the porters, as you're climbing, they did have boots and proper footwear. Occasionally you would see loafers, you would see a couple tennis shoes. Only one porter did I see with his shoes falling apart. So I was glad to see that hopefully their pay is getting better as the years go on. So. And here are all the guys that got us to the top. The one on the left is the guy with the brain injury, and his nephew is behind him. The porter, my guide, is in the blue on the bottom right, and then there's me. If you've noticed, my hair is braided because I didn't know what I was going to do with my hair for 7 days. It doesn't like to go back because it's so thin, so I can't put it back in a barrette. So I told Festo ahead of time that I wanted to get it braided. So the first guy he brought in was doing real professional braids. So he left and called a girl to come and do my hair. So this was just all at the hotel. So a girl came and she brought the black extensions to put in my hair. I was like, whatever, just do it. So I didn't tell her anything that I wanted. So what I wanted was like inside my head. I didn't say, which I should have. But so she's braiding my hair, she's putting the extensions in so it'll stick, some real black extensions. So you can see the tips of my hair are black, pure black. So what I was expecting to happen is just my hair to be braided to my scalp and then the rest of my hair just loose. Well, everything was braided all the way down. But it still worked. My hair was fine for the week. Then when I got back to the hotel, I looked at some of the people who were working there and I'm like, how do I get this out? You know, I don't know. And they're like, we'll do it for you. So she came with a toothpick and within 30 minutes, 20 minutes, had my hair out. It was wonderful. I was like, my hair's back. So, but I was so glad I had it back like that. So I didn't have to worry about it for the week. And I could just worry about keeping myself warm and not from smelling. So here we are going down to Milwaukee camp. This is the last day. This took all my energy you're going to see me coming down this path, and then you're going to see him coming down the path. We were joking about it as we went.
Mm-hmm.
Ready? That took a lot. Okay, that's it. I laughed at this when I listened to it yesterday because at the very end, I don't know if you heard me say, okay, that's it. No more skipping. I'm done. And then we saw some of the porters running and people running at different times. And I was like, Festo, why aren't you running? You should be running down. So here he is running.
Go.
You know, if you can't have fun, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. Go.
And here I am at the very end. You can see that the same sign is there. Congratulations, bon voyage. You can see the black in my hair. Now this is a real smile. Okay, let's see. My dad told me to do, whoops, let's see. Nope. Okay, well.
Go.
So this is a real smile, you know, so much different than the day before when I was barely smiling at the end. And yes, I did jump. I was like, okay, I'm going to jump. I'm going to do this. Took a couple tries, but we got it. And it's just an amazing feeling when you're done. People are sitting there drinking a beer when they're done. I didn't want beer. I wanted chocolate cake. I had chocolate cake when I got back to the States. So here is my certificate. And yes, I'm going to be framing that certificate at some point after the fact. It was just amazing. I had an extra day. They changed my flight leaving to go from Tanzania to Kenya. So I had an extra like 5 or 8 hours that last day. So we went to a Maasai village. And so these are the Maasai people. And you know, I love babies, so I had to hold a baby. On the right-hand side are the people that gave me a little tour. Once we were done with the little presentations, they went and brought me around. And then here is the most adventurous part of my tour. We're leaving the Maasai village. We're going to the airport and we're in this sedan. And as we're going over this track, he's like, okay, this is good. We're going to do this. And we get stuck on the railroad tracks. There's a rock or something that we tried to get over and it's stuck. So he tried to push it. Eventually, called the village. They sent some people to help push us out. This way didn't work. Of course, they had to get behind it and push it. But the reason I'm showing you this picture is because in COVID times, you have to have tests to get out of the country and to get into other countries. So the day before, I had, because 24 hours to get in the United States. So the day before, I had my PCR test. They came to the hotel. We did the saliva. We did the nose. I was supposed to get it by 10 a.m. Okay, the next day. The next day, I should get it between 10 and 11. By noon, I'm like, Festo, I don't have my test results yet. Okay, I'll contact him, da-da-da-da-da. So it's probably about 1 o'clock. I'm like, I still don't have my results. I have a test with me that could work. I didn't want to use it just in case. I didn't know if it would get me back in the United States because everything changes. I found out I could do that antigen test, so it would get me back in the United States. So you can see I'm in the middle of nowhere. I don't have service. So we took my phone, connected it to his phone as a hotspot. I had a brick charging brick. So his phone was connected to my charging brick to give it power. So I'm on a hotspot, downloading the app, trying to getting hold of the United States or wherever I'm calling to take this antigen test on my phone. So we get off of the railroad tracks and we're driving as I'm talking to them. They're like, are you driving? You need to stop. We can't hear you, or your test needs to not be moving. So we had to stop. We had to put the test up on anyway, it was a big mess. I read the directions. As we're waiting the 15 minutes to get it, I thought I was a goner. Whoops. I thought I was a goner and not going to pass it because I saw 2 lines, but one line was the control. No, I saw 1 line. I thought that I was failing it, but 1 line is the control and I didn't get the other line. So I passed it. I didn't have COVID. I thought all was good. I got to the airport like 3 or 4 hours early. I go to try to check in. They said you can't, but then before they closed the gate before they opened it for us, someone came to me and said, you don't have the PCR test. I said, no, but I have this, thinking I'm fine. She's like, no, that doesn't work. That's an antigen test, and didn't go into details, but I needed a PCR test to get into Kenya because I was flying Tanzania, Kenya, United States. And even though I was just transferring in Kenya, I still needed the PCR test. So I'm texting back and forth with Festo, and he's trying to get after the other people. And Moshi is the town I was staying in, the small little town. And the guy kept saying, they don't have the results for anyone in Moshi yet. I'm like, he's like, they're going to get him in an hour. They're going to get him in this. I'm like, Festo, we're just being fed a bunch of lies, because there's more stories with Marianne trying to get out of Tanzania. She ended up having to pay $200 to basically get out of the country with her test. But finally, the gate was opening at 5 o'clock for my 7 o'clock flight. At 4:55, my PCR test came through and I was negative. I'm like, oh, I can go to Kenya now and I can get out of here. I really thought I was going to be stuck in Tanzania for another day or two. So this is Festo's company. He's a small company. They're working on his website still. He's got someone, I think a friend in Utah that's helping him with it. But if you ever decide to go out to Tanzania, he does safaris as well. He climbs, he's a guide. His parents have been guides. It's in his family. So that was a lot. I just threw at you. I wasn't expecting it to go this long. As I said, if you need to go, please go. Marcy, any questions in this bit? And then I will open it up for anyone to talk and ask me questions.
So yeah, there are quite a few questions, Sherry. How much time do you have?
I have all the time in the world.
Okay, I'm going back. Okay, so the first one, are there several routes? Was Machame, or is that how you
Yep,
pronounce it? Just the
Machame.
one entrance?
It is just one entrance.
Okay.
And I have a friend that did it a couple months ago, and she did Lamoshi, and I started up this way going up the mountain. She came in this way. The two trails met and went up. There's probably I think 7 different routes you can take.
Okay. How many miles did you hike a day? I guess it varied, right? Based on what you were talking. Yeah.
It was about 8 miles a day. The first day was 4,000 feet elevation. The summit was 4,000 feet elevation up. We were hiking about 8 miles a day on average. I mean, some days less, no days more. And it was a total of 32 miles.
Wow. Okay. And I think Beth Ann's question was addressed. Did you acclimate for altitude? You talked about that.
Yep, I acclimated. And what I didn't say with altitude is the day before we hiked is when I started Diamox, which is the pill you take for high altitude.
Mhm.
And I took a full dose of it, and I was in the bathroom all night. It was awful. So after that, I just took half a dose. So I took half a dose twice a day, which is still half what you were supposed to take. I thought I would take half a dose 4 times for the full one. I was like, oh, I'll just do half a dose the whole time. And I was fine. So next time I do altitude, I'll either do that or I'll just do half a dose. And occasionally I would get a headache starting, but I would just drink some water as we were going and I was fine. So I might be one of the few people that aren't affected with altitude.
Okay, Shelley, did you have snacks along the way? You talked about in the water you just talked about because.
A little bit. I brought a whole bunch of snacks like I always do, and I didn't eat them. I had snacks. I snacked maybe 3 out of the 7 days. I got a Snickers bar. They gave me a Snickers bar the day I was summiting because you had to have a Snickers. It froze, so I was eating a frozen Snickers. And I had a few snacks, but nothing like I snack on when I'm here. They say you lose, the higher you go, you lose your appetite. And I guess I did. I mean, during my meals I ate. Some at night, my guide kept saying, you need to eat, Sherry, eat. I'm like, I'm done. Okay, I'll eat 2 more bites, 1 more bite. Feel like a kid, but so I didn't snack as much as I thought. I mean, I left nuts when I was there. I left them with Festo to have. And so, yeah.
Okay. Porters, how many porters? Melissa asked us 2 to 1, right? 2 porters.
2 to 1. That on the climb, when I summited, I had 2 porters, 2 guides with me. But with the 3 of us, because remember I said there was me and the 2 Tanzanians, even though they didn't eat with me, they were still carrying all their stuff. I think we had 12 guides total, 12 porters.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, wow.
Did you get dizzy?
I didn't. I was, I think I do well in altitude. I mean, some people do, but I did not.
Were you able to converse with your guide? So they spoke English?
The guide spoke good English, really good English. The waiter / assistant guide spoke decent English, and the rest of the guides not as much, a little bit, but not nearly as much.
Was it summer or winter, even though you experienced all the seasons? I ad-libbed that part.
It was summer there.
Okay. You talked about how much stuff you and the porters carried, like you had your immediate things and then they carried like all the dining tents and the bathroom.
And
portable, all of that.
I only had like my day pack, my big bag that had all my clothes in it. They carried that. So, and
Okay.
actually, you know, when I'm hiking here in the States, I'll offer to carry people's things because I feel like I can do it and I'm strong enough. I can carry people's things when it's too heavy for them and they're getting tired. He took about 5 pounds out of my pack when we were hiking up, just my day pack,
Wow.
because I was just having a hard time with altitude.
And if somebody had medical problems, they, like you said, the other porter would take care of them and bring them back down, or if they needed
Right.
to be.
If the porters would walk them down if need be. The scaredest I was, or the most nervous I was when we were going over those rocks, is usually people are coming down like late morning, early afternoon. These people were still later afternoon the day I was at base camp, and you could just see how tired they were. They just looked sickly, and that made me nervous because that was the people I was seeing coming down from the mountain. They would, so if someone got sick, they would bring them down in a stretcher if need be, because there were some stretchers. You did pay a helicopter fee if they needed to rescue you. Before, I don't know how much before, there was an American that was there doing the helicopter rescues, but then the Tanzanian government said, no, you can't do it anymore. We need to take over it. But the Tanzanian government doesn't have a helicopter. So if you need to be rescued, the helicopter has to come from Nairobi, which is still a couple hours away. So they'll take you down on a stretcher if you need it. And it's about 6 people carrying you down. But I didn't see anyone on a stretcher.
Because I wasn't there. I was just kidding.
Exactly.
When did the altitude start to affect you?
I would get a ping of a headache. I don't know, 10,000 feet, 13,000, maybe just only once or twice did I get that ping, but like in 30 minutes it was gone. So.
Nice. What was the primary source, protein source in the meals?
I had chicken, I had beef, I had fish, I had milk, eggs. I had eggs every morning, which was a good start. And the pancakes, pancakes up there, they were thinner. They were ours. They had a little sweetness to them. The pancakes were yummy.
Did they have coffee or tea only?
Both, but both of them, instant coffee, tea. They had powdered milk that I would put in my tea. I was really kind of getting sick of tea. I would have tea for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Then there was happy hour before dinner, and I would have my tea. And I had, the first night I had popcorn for my snack. The next day there were some nuts. And then they knew I liked popcorn, so I had popcorn every night after that.
So that was your favorite luxury item? Someone asked what your favorite luxury item, or Bart, I'm sorry, Bart asked.
Yeah, I liked the popcorn. It was good. And the soups, I mean, I wouldn't have thought, but the soup was really good. I mean, I had cucumber soup one day, and it was warm cucumber soup. How did they keep everything fresh? I don't know. I think that's why we had fish on the first day. And then I don't want to know how they kept everything fresh. I didn't get sick. So that was good. And, you know, they have these coolers, maybe. I would see them with coolers, and I guess the food's inside that, and everything keeps everything cold. You know, when you pack things inside things, the coldness, and maybe they started it frozen. And there was water sources along the way. There were rivers, and only when we got to base camp was there no water. So they had to carry it up. They would iodine or put things in the water, but it tasted fine to me. And so I was fine with that. So, I mean, that's how we got the water as well. And yeah, I guess the protein was the meat.
Is there an item you wished you had taken on the mountain that you didn't? Okay.
No. I had all my protein bars. I had my snacks, and I never ate them.
Shelley asked, what do the gators protect you from?
Dirt. There were no leeches or anything, so it was just keeping your clothes cleaner. Because I mean, I got really dusty and really dirty. those things came home in a plastic bag before I threw them in the washing machine.
Hmm. And how did you keep your camera charged?
Well, my good camera I took on the safari. I was going to take my good camera on the climb, but Gabriel was like, why, Mom? You don't need your good camera on the climb. And I was like, yes, I am. And then no, I didn't need it. So I had one really heavy brick and one smaller brick charging thing. And so I brought those two. I was going to do a solar panel that I bought at REI, but I never dealt with, I never even tried it out. So I didn't do that. I bought a little solar brick and I was like, forget it. I've heard horror stories about that. So I just spent money, got 2 charging bricks, and I used those the whole time. And I had them charged before I left. So that was good.
Where are you going to on your next adventure?
Well, I'm doing the ultimate hike, which is my 30-mile hike for raising money for children's cancer research. If anyone wants to donate money, I'll send out a blurb about that. And then my next one scheduled is to do Monte Picchu this summer. So we're heading to Peru. After that, I just sent an email to a girl that did Kilimanjaro a couple months ago to do a over fall break. I found an REI trip that fits perfectly with my fall break to do a loop in the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So they brought me there when I was a baby to the Grand Canyon, never been back. So I'll go see the Grand Canyon in October. And then my bucket list for when I retire is to go to base camp of Everest. So that will be October 2020, if anyone wants to come with me.
Awesome. Were you worried about being the only woman?
No, because there were tons of women on the hike and I felt fine sleeping by myself in my own tent. I felt safe. All was good.
Okay. And did you notice that you smelled with no shower or?
I didn't notice. No, I put deodorant on that kept it at bay. And then when it was a nice shower when I got back, nice and warm to the hotel.
Think we're good.
That's it. Does anyone want to unmute and ask me any questions? I'm enjoying this. Thank you all for being here. Thanks, Marjorie. Thanks, Gail. Thanks, Sally.
Sherry, that sounds like an absolutely fabulous time.
I did.
I enjoyed following you on Facebook, and I greatly appreciated knowing that you were still alive and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Festo texted Gabe every night, and he was supposed to send it on to my dad and my brother and my friend Sam, and he didn't. He's a typical boy, but he knew I was safe. He knew I was safe. Sam texted, I looked at the post later and Sam's like, have you heard from your mom? How is she doing? Oh, she's doing really well. She just sent me a picture. And Sam was like, you know, you were supposed to share those with me. Oh, here she is. I'm really proud of her. So even my Georgia Tech kid didn't do what he was supposed to do all the time. You know, they're kids. So I did not expect all of you guys to come on, sharing my pictures of the safari and then all of my pictures after the fact on my hike. I didn't expect all the following. I'm shocked you guys are all interested in it, but it was an amazing time. I'm glad you guys could come with me on my travels.
It might be the only way we go on one of these
Right.
travels.
It's like,
That's
wait,
right,
wait,
Penny.
wait, Sherry, we're really
Yes?
glad you're going. It's not something I'm ever gonna do.
Well, let me tell you, if you ever have a chance to go to Africa on a safari, you know, Nepal is one of my favorite countries, but the safari there is nothing like it is in Africa. I highly recommend, if you have a chance to go on a safari, that you go on a safari. It is absolute. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I was supposed to do this 30 years ago when I did my trip around the world, the safari part, not the climb. I wasn't into hiking back then. And I got sick in Nepal. So my dad got me, says like, nope, you're not going on a safari. You're not going to Africa. You're going to go see grandma in Israel. They arranged me going to the doctor in India to figure out what's wrong with me. Then my uncle took me to the doctor in Israel. And so, you know, I missed Africa 30 years ago, and I've been wanting to go ever since. And Marianne knows how to tease me, and she's like, she texted me, you want to go on a safari? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to go on a safari. And then when I was looking at the one she was recommending, it said that we were flying into Kilimanjaro airport. And I was like, oh, I think there's a mountain there. So that's how my climb came about.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That
Wow,
was just
Sally.
delightful.
Thanks so much.
thank
There
you
were
for coming and spending 2 hours with me on a Saturday.